everyone. Me, Anamika Agarwal, welcome one and all to our event Reboot 360, hosted by RCC Diva, proudly supported by our president Manisha Pramod Choridia, to bring back business confidence and propel economy back on rails post-lockdown. In this event, we're having conversation with prominent business personalities to share their words of wisdom and help others survive and thrive. Today we have amongst us a very prominent business personality of Chennai, whom we all look upon as our role model, Mr. Abhaysar Srisrimalji. Welcome, sir. He is the promoter of Shasun Pharmaceuticals Limited, Dhanvantri Nano Ayushri Private Limited, and he is also an academician, a research scholar, educationalist, philanthropist, visionary leader. Oh my God, sir, the list is endless. So happy to have you among us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Can we start?
Yeah, sure.
So, sir, you are multifaceted personality with diverse interests across spectrums. You are a source of inspiration and the iconic role model for all the youth around us. So could you please describe what inspired you to move into the research and medical field?
Sometimes in life, everything is decided by the God and nothing is in your hands. In our pharmaceutical industry, we normally say Q by D, which is quality by design. But sometimes God decides and decides quality by default. So as soon as I finished my chemical engineering, I wanted to start an industry, but father had different designs in mind, so he got me married first. And then after marriage, after 1 year of marriage, I had to remind him again that I want to start an industry, and that's how I got into pharma industry. Pharma industry was a rising industry that time, and I was lucky enough to get into this pharma industry. 90% of the drugs were imported in 1976 compared to the present situation of 2020, where we say that we are the pharmacy of the entire world. Even the Donald Trump, or President of America, calls up our Prime Minister to ensure that the supply of drugs are not affected. So that is the situation today, and today every third pill taken in the world is manufactured and supplied from India. It's a very proud situation for all of us in the pharma industry. But pharma industry has to be backed up by a lot of research, because obsolescence is very, very high. A drug becomes obsolete in the next 20 years or 30 years, or sometimes I have seen drugs becoming obsolete in just 1 year itself. So the research is very, very important, and that has been the backbone of Sashun also. If you talk about Sashun, Sashun is my father and mother's name. That's what you see behind me. Shankarlal Jain and Sundarbai, the first three letters of father and first three letters of mother. And that's how we started Sashun in 1976. Today, after 44 years, we are spread all over the world. We have 1,200 people working in research, and that is the backbone of the industry. So without research, you will not be able to cope up with the trends, modern trends, and the modern requirements. So research is a must. And I can tell you stories after stories how the research has helped us to be in the forefront, and how we have sold some of our patents or the patented technology to various companies in the world and made money over it. So there are research is something which keeps you agile, keeps you fresh with the technology, and it's a must for any industry, not only for pharma. I would say research is a must. Even for us, when we say screwdriver, normally in a screwdriver, you don't do much of research. But I can tell you how many types of screwdrivers have come, which makes your life much easier. So it starts with a screwdriver itself, to any area of aeroplane, to anything. If there is a proper research, you can succeed in life.
Yeah, so right. So very well said. And coming to your company lifestyle, which have pioneered the very concept of banking of cord blood stem cells in India. What is your vision for LifeCell in the next few years? And do you think people are actually making use of this concept?
Very much true. Life cell was a concept which was brought because the facility of storing cord blood was not available in 2004 when we brought the concept. And the concept is so novel in idea that it can help people face very challenging diseases, and particularly on the hematology sector. Hematology, people don't know that there are 37 types of blood cancers. And that was an unmet need in the country. So after starting cord blood banking in 2004, the first thing we did was to set up a hemato-oncology center, that is blood cancer center. And that we started in Sri Ramachandra Medical College. And we were given a separate area for us to start our hemato-oncology center, which was inaugurated by the then President Sri Abdul Kalam ji. I'm proud to tell you that was in 2007, it had set a record by itself, being the best hemato-oncology center in the entire country. Not only we did a lot of research, even in the cord blood stem cell, in application of cord blood stem cells for the blood related disorders, and also related to various other vascular disorders. If you see, we were the first one in the country to do a approved clinical trial for vascular disease, where we established the fact that if you use stem cells, you can cure major problems of the vascular problems. And we also are proud to tell you that we are the only company in probably the world where we have community banking. And today we have more than 100,000 cord bloods typed with HLA. Because any matching, if you have to do, or somebody has to take cord blood, they have to do HLA typing. We do the highest amount of HLA typing in the country. And today, lot of people, at least 10 people in a month, you'll be surprised at using cord blood for treating major ailments in the body. Not only that, LifeCell has moved from storage of cord blood to diagnostics, prenatal and post-delivery. We do gene testing. So the complete genome of the body or the newborn is done to predict what are the health conditions or the challenges the child may face, and what are the precautions we have to take. Besides that, the company has already moved into biologics. So we not only take the cord blood, we take the cord tissue, we also take the amniotic fluid around, we make patches out of it, which are used for serious wound treatments, particularly for diabetic wound treatment. So the whole focus is continue with the research, continue to focus on what is best for the country or for the people. And from cord blood banking to diagnostics to genomics to biologics, I think we have moved too far away from our original concept, but the concept is intact. Today, LifeCell is world's #1 company in cord blood banking.
Congratulations, sir, for that.
Thank you very much.
But I remember when I had a child that was 15 years back. It was not a very wow thing, and when I wanted to do it, I had a lot of negative thing coming from my family. It's not important because it was very expensive at that time. Now I think
it's a biological insurance, and if we have to store it for your lifetime,
exactly.
Please understand that we have to store it at -196 degrees, which is liquid nitrogen, and we have to ensure that it is completely monitored, backed up by 7 levels of security, and to ensure that nothing goes wrong.
So then, but since you joined this Shasun group, there has been a successful rise in the pinnacle of pharmaceutical company in our country. So what is the secret behind your Midas touch?
I did not join Sashun group. I started Sashun actually.
Yeah.
So I was a promoter of Sashun, and from the time I have seen, because I have seen the position where India had a lot of demand, but there were no suppliers. So it was suppliers market. Today, it is a buyer's market. So buyer demands the quality, demands the price, and you have to meet those expectations. So from one extreme where India was importing drugs 90% to a situation where we are exporting, we are a net exporter of pharmaceuticals to the entire world. You see there is a huge difference which is happening. And that is all because that we were able to adopt to the best practices. Today, India has more number of US FDA companies, FDA approved companies than anywhere else in the world other than USA. That means after USA, we have the second largest number of companies which are US FDA approved. And the pharmaceuticals is the one area where whether it is pandemic or whether it is joyful situation or anything, people have to continue to have drugs and continue to have quality drugs. So that is one reason why you will find that 85% of our production goes to exports, and we sell in USA, Japan, Europe, or name the regulated country, Australia, entire world it goes. We supply pharmaceuticals to almost 140 countries, and we are proud that people respect Sashun the world over. And we have companies, not only in India now, we started with one company, one product in India, but today we have companies all over the world spread over Africa, Singapore, UK, and we just sold our UK Australia company. So, we keep building companies and we keep selling companies.
So we are going global here, huh?
Yes, nice. We are already a global company.
So you have innovative mind, and recently your company NanoLife has developed Ayurvedic disinfectant tunnel for the benefit of temple priests and employees attending to their regular duties inside the hill temple of Lord Venkateshwara. What other innovative ideas and products you're developing right now to fight the COVID-19?
I think you are aware of only 1% of the total company of NanoLife. NanoLife, that is Dhanvantari Nano Aushadhi Private Limited, is focused on producing nanoparticles of all metals through green nanotechnology, where we don't use any chemicals or any unnatural items. So it's all 100% natural. And we make it without the use of chemicals or force of any pressure or reaction. That's a unique patented technology. Again, the patent plays a very important role. So we have unrolled gold nanoparticles, which are immune boosters, which are proven immune boosters. And gold bhasma was known for 5,000 years in Ayurveda as an immune booster.
Yes.
But the only problem was with the Ayurveda kind of preparation, which the Ayurvedic preparation allowed the use of lead and mercury in the process. Whereas we don't use lead or mercury or any toxic chemicals or toxic metals in the production of gold nanoparticles. And we have seen people getting treated for cancer with gold nanoparticles. We have introduced silver nanoparticles, which are the most powerful disinfectant, which is today being marketed as a disinfectant and a hand sanitizer. And it has gone to, believe me, because it is alcohol free and chemical free. Today we have reached out to 32 countries in the world where they have already started accepting and placing orders. It's not only India, it's reaching all over the world. Plus, it is internally you can consume it also for any bacterial or viral infection. And that is the beauty of this drug, which has proven itself, and where the toxicology, see, this is the first time we are bringing evidence-based, scientific evidence-based therapies for the Ayurveda products. See, Ayurveda product lacked consistency. Ayurveda product lacked certification or certificate of analysis, and it was not backed up by toxicology data. Today, we have established a toxicology data. We have the scientific evidence. We have the repeatability. We have the consistency. Batch after batch, whatever we produce in Ayurveda drug, today is consistent and is completely backed by science. And that is what makes us reach all over the world.
Ayurveda.
And one more product which we are very soon going to introduce, which will be very good for the ladies, particularly since I'm addressing all the ladies here. I can tell you the biggest problem in the world is all the ladies, 50% of the population is ladies. More than 40% of them are suffering from anemia. So it's a big problem which the government of India has also taken a big steps. So we are introducing iron nanoparticles very soon. We have already established the technology on the research level. We are into the pilot plant scale, and then we'll be going into the commercial scale. And another 6 months, we'll be rolling out plans for iron nanoparticles, which I'm sure in the next decade will remove the problem of anemia from the world.
A very nice thought, sir. Definitely, it's going to bring a revolution here. So, Abhay sir, you have been supporting startups by mentoring them, by providing them inputs with your invaluable and acting as bridge to provide them connect with angel investors. The startup culture in Chennai is at its nascent stage. What are your views on the same?
I don't think startup has ever been at a nascent stage. What we are seeing is that is seen as a visible startup statement. In 1972, when I was a college student, I had supported, and my first venture was into hair cutting. So the step cutting which you see became famous in Chennai was because I had brought the barber from Mumbai who was trained in Australia. And then that was the time when we started the step cutting. And I always loved to venture into something daring, risk taking. And even during my college days, I ensured that I do a lot of daring sports. Like I used to do horse riding, I used to do rowing, I used to do flying. I am a certified pilot, and I used to have a music band, and I used to play guitar, and I used to have a lot of singing parties. But what I'm saying is everything, learning is a quotient which you should never stop. And it's a continuous journey. And startup has been my passion. And when I knew that I am successful, I said, why not help others? And whoever came to me for a startup idea, I used to give them ideas. If they don't have ideas, I used to give them ideas. If they come with the ideas and don't have money, I used to give them money. So that's the kind of encouragement I have done. And I can tell you proudly that out of 57 projects I have helped so far, 55 have been successful and are running. 2 have been stopped because technology was established, but then we had some other issues. The CEO left, and we could not continue with the project. So it's a spray and pray game. So you spray on 57 people, and 57 have sprouted, 55 have sprouted, and 2 have dead. I think the ratio is phenomenal in terms of success.
That's commendable, sir. 55 of them. Seriously. And also, with several important startups already under the belt and great vision, you could reach there quickly, the 100 startup. Yes. And
I may cross 100 also, because that's the next step.
Definitely.
I'm already after COVID. One decision I have taken is that I will quit from all my regular business, focus on social commitments, and contribute to the society back, focus on Swadhyay, religion, and do whatever I can for myself. And one of them includes entrepreneurship development. I may soon, after a few years, set up an incubation center for the entrepreneurs.
Hopefully, I'll be one of them attending it.
You can be one today itself. You don't have to wait.
Okay, sir. Now coming back to the most important scenario today here in the world, actually, what are your views on managing the COVID-19 pandemic?
I will split this into 2 parts. One is on the how to face COVID. COVID is like conjunctivitis. Conjunctivitis is termed as Madras eye. Now, Madras eye started from Madras. That's why it is called as Madras eye. Now it is spread all over the world. People, conjunctivitis come. We suffer for 1 or 2 days, take medicine, and we rest at home, and then it goes away. So COVID is also going to be like that. Today, there is a huge fear which has set into the minds that people, it's like a, disease which people don't want to have. But you can't help it. Every one of us may get it, and we'll have to follow the procedure of 7 days, 10 days, and then get out of it. Now we are trying, actually we have tried silver nanoparticles on COVID in America, and we have got such a fantastic result that it cures COVID in 10 days time. So, there's nothing to fear about it. I think if we can remove the fear out of it, even the death percentage is so low, and it affects only the few people. That is on the disease side, health side. But if you look at the economic side is bringing a lot of opportunities to India. The anti-China sentiment which is setting in the world will draw everybody to come here. We are seeing in our pharmaceutical industry right now itself, people who are buying from China have shifted their entire quantities to us. And we have stopped. 2 years back, we took a decision that we'll stop buying from China. And we started making our own. Today, Government of India has announced a special scheme for API industry to incentivize 20% on the sales what they have for. It's a huge boom for the pharmaceutical industry, and not only for pharmaceutical industry, every industry where China was making. I want to say that this is going to be a huge opportunity for the country.
No, actually, anti-China. We're all waiting for everything to go anti-China, everything A to Z.
It may not happen. It may happen over a period of 6 months, but definitely the sentiments world over. It's not only in India.
Yeah.
Please believe me. We have Japanese office. Japanese also are saying we don't want to do anything with China. It's America, Europe, everywhere. The sentiments are completely different.
Definitely different. And also, our country has huge demographic dividend in the form of young men and women. This could be a boon when well utilized. But with the rising unemployment, it could also be a bane. What is your message to the upcoming youth of India?
We are the most luckiest country in the world today, where we have 50% of the population below 25 and 65% of the population below 35 years. This is an advantage which even China does not have. Now, with this population, China is supplying 40.5% of their GDP is in manufacturing. With the same population or a little higher population than China, with a younger demography, we are at only 14.5% of the GDP into manufacturing. You see the gap. There's a 26% gap in manufacturing. Do you think we don't have the brains? We don't have the science, we don't have the maths, we don't have the risk-taking capability. We had everything available with us. It's just that the government has to give a proper support, and the situation which you are talking about, unemployment, can definitely be changed in few years. And the youth should be trained, but there is something called natural instinct. Indians by birth have this natural instinct of learning quickly because of probably the science and the maths which has been imbibed in our culture right from the young age. So I don't see that skill is going to be a problem. It's just that people have to have the faith. The 400 years of slavery mind has driven us in last 75 years also. We still think that we are slaves. That slavery mindset, if we can remove, it has started getting removed only from 1991 when the economy was opened. I think once the economy gets opened up, post COVID, the situation is going to be dramatically changing. The whole life has become advanced in the sense we thought people will go on a Zoom call and probably become popular only by 2025. Today, by 2020, we are using Zoom call. Now for this meeting also, we are using Zoom call. So Zoom themselves never imagined that that was one of the industries. And this industry, this communication industry is what I had invested in 2007. And we were almost close to doing a Zoom in 2008. But then the CEO fell sick and we had to abandon that entire project. But we were ahead of that time. Today, we are giving China whatever Sassoon produces. China, once they hear about Sassoon, they stop producing. That's the kind of leverage we have. That's the kind of technological advantage you can create. It's not me. Every Indian can create that. It's just that we have to come out of the closed mindset to an open mindset and take challenges head on and start winning. Where I have a message that life is full of challenges. So your body is made of H2O, your earth is made of H2O, and your life is also made of H2O. And here the H2O is nothing else but handicap, and how to convert handicap to opportunity, H2O. So every handicap you convert into opportunity, and you don't have to be saying unemployed. You have to know how to give employment. So become an employer, then becoming an employee.
Wow, sir, that was a real eye opener. So, your daughter-in-law, Miss Vibha, a great friend of mine also, a Diva member, is actively involved in your company Nanolife. What are your views about women empowerment and the missing steps or required push needed to increase the participation of Indian women in the workforce?
That is the culture father has already imbibed in us, and we support the upcoming women to really succeed in life. And that is one of the reasons why you see that we have backed up and started a women's college in T Nagar, where 4,500 students are studying, where we have an incubation center. We encourage entrepreneurship. We encourage them to become successful in life. We not only give the academic course, non-academic course is our focus, because if I have become successful today, I feel it's besides the academic knowledge which I gained, it's the non-academic activities of flying, rowing, riding, and doing everything possible to learn has opened up my eyes in front of how to deal with people. And people, once you know the people skills, I don't think anything is difficult in this world. So it's more than your knowledge, it's your humbleness and your people skill is what going to take you to the next level. We were one of the few companies in the country where we had a women director in our board right from 1996, the moment we went public. We also encourage women to take part in the business. And I'm glad that Vibha is what you know, but my first daughter-in-law also goes to office, Taru, Mayur's wife. She is in Lifestyle, and Vibha works in Vinay, but I think she has great potential. I want her to succeed in life and take the leadership, and one day replace me in the company with her her leadership, and she can do that.
Definitely.
And more than that, we have policy in all our companies about women harassment, sexual discrimination, equality in pay and position. So we ensure that, just because in the same position, if the woman is there, she is paid less and men are paid more. It's not so. So we believe in equal pay, equal position. We believe in discrimination, and I am very touchy about sexual harassment at workplace. And we removed a CEO from the company just because we had some wrong information. And we don't tolerate this. See, unless you start respecting women, you will not be respected by your own colleagues in the business. So that is something which we are very, very touchy and sensitive about it.
A very nice drive, sir. And we'll definitely, a lot of men should be inspired by you, sir. Thank you so much for that. And sir, recently our Modi ji, our President, Prime Minister Narendra ji Modi, he spoke about this concept of being self-dependent, Atmanirbhar. So what are your views on that, sir?
Definitely, as a country, see, we should be self-dependent in the sense in terms of manufacturing. The kind of imports which we are doing, the kinds of, I'm sorry to say that, women like to get imported cheese and imported stuff, and they seem to be liking it. When Indian products are much better, probably, the concept of foreign goods being good is still so deeply etched into our mind. Whereas, people go buy ibuprofen from America and come back and show me, hey, I bought this in America. And they don't know that the same product is being supplied from India to America. So, it's so pity that we still rely on that, and we must become self-dependent. But I differ from Narendra Modi ji on only one issue. I don't mind we saying that his slogan, what he talks about, supporting the country. But it is not, we are not manufacturing for the country alone. We should be the hub for the international manufacturing. So it's not only for देश के लिए बनाना है, पूरे विश्व के लिए बनाना है. तो अपने को यहाँ से इतनी क्षमता बढ़ानी है कि पूरे विश्व को हम सप्लाई कर सकें. और आज जो चाइना की पोजीशन थी, वो इंडिया की पोजीशन जल्दी से जल्दी होनी चाहिए.
Definitely. With entrepreneurs like you, definitely there will be a day very soon, sir. Definitely. And lastly, what is your message for the youth here in our Diva?
For the mothers and for the ladies, I have only one suggestion. Please don't give too much protection to your kids. Expose them to the risk, expose them to the challenges they should be able to take, and ask them to play more outdoor sports. One, it will save you from their playing games and digital games. Two, it will make them more healthy. Three, they will learn how to deal with defeat. Failure is not a bad thing in life. People think that failure is something which is failure is a stepping stone for success. If people think that they are seeing my success, they haven't seen my failures. So I have gone through a lot of failures. A lot of at times I had to, burn the entire work which I had done. But then I have come back. Every time you have to, you learn how to bounce back. So don't give too much protection to your children. I am thankful that my mother, though she was uneducated, I tell you, between 1970 and 75, for 5 years of the college, I used to take a backpack with no address, no phone, no mobile phone, no computers, no emails. And we used to travel all over India and come back. And probably if I write a letter in Mumbai, it will come back after I reach back Chennai. But my mother never used to bother. Where I am, what I am doing, she left alone. And that's the kind of freedom she gave. Here, I don't think we leave our children even for 1 hour in peace. We want to be chasing him. What are you doing? What are you doing? Why are you doing? Where have you gone? Leave him. Leave him alone to enjoy his life. Let him know how to take risks.
Yeah, I think we all mothers need to change our mindset for that. Definitely, sir.
I think you should learn something from my mother. Had she been alive, she would have really taught you all this.
Sure, sir. Definitely. And sir, last, you just said you're so interested in music. Can we have a song from you, sir?
No.
Something, just 2 lines.
No, my favorite song which we used to sing those days was Rajesh Khanna days. प्यार दीवाना होता है मस्ताना होता है, हर खुशी से हर गम से बेगाना होता है.
Wow.
I can sing the whole song, but
That was incredible. Thank you
I
so
used to
much.
play the guitar also. If you give me the guitar, I can do it with the guitar also.
Definitely, we'll have this session once with you, sir, a musical
Sure.
session. And thank you so much. It was wonderful having you with us.
Thank you. It has been my pleasure, and thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, sir.
And my best of wishes to all the Diva family. Stay
Thank you.
safe, stay home, and stay secure. Don't stay at home. Don't take the risk. But what I'm saying is stay with your mask on and ensure that you're well protected. All the best in life. Don't worry.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.